Alright, so in this video I'm going to go and show you guys how to use the create a class system inside of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies. I'm super excited to be making my first video on Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies, so without a further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Let's not waste any time. Tutorial time. If you want to play Blood of the Dead or Classified, keep note that you must be on the Ether storyline subcategory of the created class system. If you want to play 9 or Voyage of Despair, keep note that you must press R2 and be on the KHAOS storyline set of preset classes for the created class system. This is very important to note because if you're loading up your game for the first time, you say, I want to play Voyage of Despair, and you begin to create a class for the Ether storyline maps, that will not be usable in the KHAOS storyline maps because they're two separate and distinct stories, meaning that they're going to need two separate and distinct created class systems or categories for the created class system. So once again, keep in mind which map you want to play first. Of course, later on, as you begin to level up and rank up, you can start to customize different preset classes for yourself for each individual map. Like for example, in the Ether storyline maps, you can customize it. Maybe you can name this one Classified, and then this one Blood of the Dead, and so on and so forth. And same thing with the KHAOS storyline maps. You can name one 9, one Voyage of Despair, and you can just keep customizing as you wish. But for the most part, we're going to keep this basic. We're going to stick to one map for now, okay? We're going to say we want to play Blood of the Dead. And now that I explained exactly what the Ether and KHAOS story means up here, the L2 and R2 on our controller with the switches in between the KHAOS and Ether storyline maps, we know that Blood of the Dead is an Ether storyline map, so we must be on the Ether story selection of the created class system. Once we're there, all we have to actually go ahead and do is press L1 or R1 on our controller to get to a specific created class. Whichever one you really want to pick, you can do. It doesn't really matter. You have 4 to start out with, and again, whichever one you pick, you can just work with and customize to the best of your ability. But yeah, very quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 you have to work with, and then finally you have the Raptor and Jester, which aren't available at this point in time, but will be as you begin to rank up throughout your levels in Black Ops 4 Zombies. But just working with one created class system at this point in time, since that's the easiest thing to do, let's move into the actual levels. So, to recap once again, we determined that we're going to play Blood of the Dead, and we want to create a class for Blood of the Dead. So, since Blood of the Dead is an Ether storyline map, we picked Ether Story. Next, we picked any random create a class, preset class that's already in here. And now we're going to go ahead and select our elixirs, our perks, our weapons, and talisman for inside of Blood of the Dead. This way, as soon as we spawn in, we'll have our specific game set up for us to whatever way we customize beforehand. And trust me, this is going to make a big difference on your gameplay when you actually jump in. You may not think it's going to make a big difference, but it actually does in Black Ops 4, and you're going to get why once I finish explaining. So, now that we know we're playing Blood of the Dead, we're in the Ether category, and we have a random preset class selected, we can go into our elixir selection right here and start to customize our elixirs. Now, the elixirs are pretty much the same exact thing as Gobblegums were in Black Ops 3 Zombies, just in the form of elixirs, in the form of a drink, and they activate slightly different. So in Black Ops 3, you had to go to a Gobblegum machine, press square, wait for the Gobblegum to come out, and then you press square again to consume it. In Black Ops 4, it's actually different because you spawn in with 4 elixirs right away, and you can activate them whenever you want by using the D-pad. As you can see right here, your elixirs are in the shape of a diamond, and each one of these elixirs right here, each one of these elixir squares actually represents a button on your D-pad. So the D-pad is represented out there for you, but for example, if I wanted to press left on my D-pad to get Fear in the Headlights up, I'd recognize that left on the D-pad correlates with this square right here. I mean, unless you're really confused in life, I think you can figure out that left on the D-pad is left on the screen. So we're going to pick the left square right there. Now we're going to go to, okay, I don't know what Gobblegum I just said, but let's just pick any random Gobblegum. Say I want left on the D-pad to be Blood Depth. I pick that, and now Blood Depth is selected. Now I want to change up on the D-pad to something like Alchemical Antithesis. I do that. Right on the D-pad, I want to change to a classic like Temporal Gift. And finally, down on the D-pad, when I hit that, I want the elixir to activate. I want the cashback elixir to activate. And now we're good to go. So now as soon as we spawn into the map, in Black Ops 4 Zombies, we're going to have these 4 elixirs ready to go. We don't have to go up to any window, any Gobblegum machine, nothing like that. We can activate them when we're ready. So, for example, say as soon as I spawn into the map, I wanted a max ammo for whatever reason. All I do is, if I had any max ammos available, by the way, but all I do is press down on my D-pad, and bang, that will activate the elixir in my game. I don't have to go to a gobblegum machine to retrieve the elixir or to retrieve the consumable. I just press down on the D-pad, or up on the D-pad, or left on the D-pad, or even right on the D-pad, depending on what elixir I want to activate, and that will activate that elixir for me. Now, of course, that was just a general. I mean, it wasn't too general, it was pretty in-depth, but I'm going to go more in-depth about the whole elixir system, how to actually acquire more of them, and how to actually farm them in another video very, very soon. So definitely make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for that. But that's how you customize the elixirs in your created class system of Black Ops 4 Zombies. Next, let's move on to the weapons category. We're going to leave the perks for last pretty much, or actually Talisman for last and perks before last, but let's move on to weapons. In the weapons category, you have your special weapons, your equipment, and your starting weapon. But for this video, we're going to start with the equipment since that's the easiest to go with. Excuse me. Got the hiccups today. But we have frag grenades, acid bombs, claymores, wraithfire, and sentry. Excuse me again, I'm sorry. But yeah, the equipment, I'm only level 1, like I literally have not jumped into a game yet. You'll notice right away, right off the bat, we have the frag grenade to select. But say for example you're level 10, you're going to notice that at level 10, you unlock the acid bomb. So say you just played a full game Zombies, you're level 11, you can go to your equipment section now, press X on the acid bomb, and then that will replace your current equipment. You will no longer have grenades in your game, you'll actually spawn in with that acid bomb equipment, which is awesome. So now that we have the map determined, we're customizing our preset class, we now have our gobblegums / elixirs determined, we have our equipment determined. Now we have to decide what special weapon we want to bring in and what actual starting weapon we want to bring in. And again, since I'm only level 1 right now and haven't played a game yet, I can only select one weapon. But as you begin to rank up and go through your levels in Black Ops 4 Zombies, you'll begin to unlock new weapons. So for example, say I am level 44, as you can see it says right over here, or right above the weapon name, SOG 9mm, it says that this weapon's available at level 44. So as soon as I reach level 44 in Zombies, I can press X on this weapon, and this will actually be my starting weapon and the weapon I spawn in with straight off the bat, which is freaking awesome. Very, very similar to World War II Zombies, which again is very awesome. Okay, we have elixirs / consumables out of the way, we have our equipment and our starting weapon out of the way. Now we're going to move on to the final category of the weapon section, which is the special weapon, and this is the most awesome category. And of course, I'm going to go over to the KHAOS storyline maps, or the KHAOS storyline section, to just go ahead and explain and clarify everything for you guys at the end of the video, because once I bunch this all up, I can just transfer all that information over to the KHAOS storyline side and just kind of tell you what everything means in those terms, because for the most part, the effects are exactly the same from KHAOS to Ether storyline maps. The difference is really just the visuals, and just a pure quick representation of that is if I press R2 and go to the KHAOS storyline maps, you notice these perk icons here are actually the same. The actual thing that's different are the visuals of the perk machines. They're different. You actually have god statues in the KHAOS storyline maps. Meanwhile, in the Ether storyline maps, we have actual machines. But that's just very basic. We're going to get into that a little bit more near the end of the video, which we're actually coming close to. But, again, very quickly. We have our created class. Again, we discovered we're playing Blood of the Dead, and we picked our random created class slot that we want to select. We selected our elixir, / consumables. We selected our equipment and starting weapon, and now our special weapon. We're going to actually just pick a random one from this, just for the purpose of this video. You'll notice right away, though, as soon as you select a special weapon, it's going to say some kind of information about it, and it's going to say right over there, right under it, that you have 3 stages of the special weapon. You have stage 1, stage 2, and finally stage 3, which is going to be the most powerful stage, and you can't click on it for more information. I thought you could, but you'll notice that the final stage, stage 3, has the most awesome name, is the most upgraded weapon, and is going to obviously be the most powerful version of the weapon overall, because of course that's stage 3. You did the most work to earn that weapon, and again, it's going to do the most damage to zombies for you, and it's going to be the most effective overall for that specific weapon. So, for example, with the Hellfire, stage 1 is just a regular flamethrower, stage 2 is the blast vent. It's still a flamethrower, but it's slightly more powerful, and then stage 3, you're going to have the most powerful special weapon of this kind of flamethrower Hellfire weapon that you have in the Infernal Tempest. Again, Tachyo's Katana. As soon as you spawn into the game, as your special weapon, you'll have Tachyo's Katana / the Path of Sorrows. That'll be called, you'll just have this as you spawn in. Stage 1 will be the K's /, stage 2 will be the Merciless Dash, and finally, when you get enough kills with it, you rank it up enough in that specific game, excuse me, keep in mind this is game to game, you will eventually unlock the Shadow of Death. So for example, say you've gotten, I don't exactly know the numbers on this, but say you got like 8,000 kills with the Path of Sorrows. That should be enough to get you to stage 3 of the special weapon. That should be way more than enough to get to wave 3, to get to stage 3 of the special weapon, and you'll now have the most powerful version of this weapon there is out there. So that's pretty much a quick overview of the special weapons. Very quickly, the special weapons that correlate to each character, you don't have to be each specific character to use each special weapon, but it's just kind of cool to list them out. Hellfire is Nikolai's, it's supposed to be Nikolai's. Flamethrower, the Overkill, is a death machine, that's supposed to be Tank Dempsey's. The Path of Sorrows is of course Takio's Katana. And finally, the Ragnarok DG5 is the next version of the Ragnarok DG4 from Der Eisendrache, and of course that belongs to Richtofen. And for the purpose of this video, we're just going to go ahead and select the Ragnarok DG5. Again, as soon as we spawn into the game, we'll have the base Ragnarok DG5, and as we begin to use it throughout the game, we'll unlock Stage 1, which is the Shock Slam. Stage 2, we'll have the Electrocute, and then finally Stage 3, we'll have the completely upgraded Ragnarok DG5 in the Power Plant. So let's select that. That's the weapon I want to select, and we're good to go. We can press circle, or if it doesn't bring them out, yeah, just press circle. Yeah, it won't. So just press X on the weapon you want to select, and press circle to go back to the main menu. Very, very easy, very self-explanatory. So now we picked our elixirs, we picked all our weapon categories right here in the special weapon, the equipment, and the starting weapon. Now we're going to move on to the talisman and perks. Okay, so in each map, there are these specific perk machines that I believe spawn in the same spot every single game. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure because that would make the most sense. But again, don't hold me to it, okay? But in each map, you have these specific perk machines. You have the brew machine, the cola machine, the soda machine, and the tonic machine. But the thing about them is that even though they are the same machine, in each machine you can have a different perk every game if you want. So for example, this machine right here, this brew machine is assigned to the time slip perk. But for example, if I wanted to make this brew machine assigned to the stamina perk, all I have to do is press on the machine, press X on stamina, and that will then correlate the brew machine to the stamina perk. Very simple once again. So for example, say I load up Blood of the Dead, and the first machine I see is the brew machine. That machine will have stamina. But say for whatever reason I don't want stamina, I can press square on that brew machine once again, or X on that brew machine once again, and say I want quick revive in that brew machine. All I have to do is press X on quick revive, and again, as soon as I spawn into the game with this created class system and I see my brew machine, that brew machine will have quick revive in it. And the same thing goes with each and every other perk on the map. So say in Blood of the Dead, in one of the areas we have our brew machine, that will be assigned to quick revive. Now, for example, in Blood of the Dead, we have our cola machine in a specific area of the map, but I want that to have death perception. All I have to do once again is select that specific perk machine, which in this case is the cola machine, and select the perk I want to be assigned to it, and it will then assign the perk to that specific machine. Same thing goes for this one right here. The soda machine will just select Dying Wish. And then finally, we have the tonic machine, which is actually different and unique because it actually has a modifier on it. And you're going to notice with each and every perk, there's a different modifier, which is awesome. So, for example, say I picked all 3 perks I want to be assigned to each machine in the game. I have the brew machine to quick revive, the cola machine to death perception, and the soda machine to Dying Wish. The 4th machine I can, yes, assign a perk to, but this machine will actually have some kind of special modifier. So say I do want stamina in this perk machine. Not only will I have stamina with this machine, but I will also have my special modifier, which is unlimited full sprint, and the player can fire weapons while sprinting. So not only do I have stamina, but I also have this special ability on top, on top of that, by actually buying the perk from this machine, which is awesome. Okay, so that was a quick overview of how the perks work in Black Ops 4 Zombies. Again, there's specific there's these in every single match you play of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies in the Ether storyline maps. You'll see these 4 perk machines, and within each of these perk machines, you can assign any single perk in this list to it. There's no limitation on the perks. Any perk can go to any perk machine. It just depends on what you personally want in your game for your, just for your personal customization options and for your convenience. So, and I mean, also the modifier does play a role, because if you want to have stamina up on unlimited sprint, you're gonna need stamina up on the tonic actual perk slot. But again, just mess around with the perk machines and mess around with the special weapons, and you'll eventually get exactly what you want in your game. moving on to the final set of the created class system, or the final section of the created class system. Now that we got elixirs, perks, and weapons out of the way, we have our talisman, and they do kind of correlate a little bit with elixirs, but not too much. They are separate, but again, they are similar in a way because they are similar to gobblegums in a way, just like they were in Black Ops 3 Zombies. So let's take this for example. I mean, just from the very base, we have common, rare, legendary, and epic versions of talisman, which of course we know is similar to the gobblegum system, or even the elixir system, because of course there are different rarities of those different elixirs or gobblegums. But again, in this case, it's talisman. And basically what talisman are kind of special, I don't want to call them attachments, but we'll call them, they are consumables. So they're special consumables that you consume every game at the beginning of your game. So for example, say I wanted to load up Blood of the Dead, like I said, I picked Ether Storyline, I picked my preset class, I got my whole class set up, and for that specific game, I want to go for high rounds and I want to do it very, very quickly. A talisman that would help me out a lot would be this talisman right here, this epic talisman, the supercharged crystal, because I don't have to waste any time ranking up my special weapon. It's already ranked up to the max rank. So if I wanted to actually go and apply that talisman once again, I press X on the talisman slot, go over to epic, and I don't have any of them, but what I do if I did have one or more of them is just press X on the specific talisman, and bang, that's applied to me, and the second I spawn into my game, I will consume this talisman and my special weapon will be ranked up to level 3. That's how this works. The second you spawn into your game, the talisman is consumed inside of you and becomes a part of you. So whatever ability you pick as your talisman becomes part of you the second you spawn into the game. This is part of your character. You don't have to activate it like a gobblegum or like an elixir. It's automatically part of you the second you spawn into the game because it's part of your created class system. And you can only have one per game, as you can see on the bottom. And that is pretty much it. If you guys did like the video and it did help you out, make sure you do drop it a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed. Definitely make sure you are subscribed if you don't want to miss any of the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Zombies videos I have coming out. I'm going to have a whole bunch of videos explaining, well, going a little more in depth on the perks, of course the elixirs, that whole system, how to get more of them, how to farm them, a whole bunch of videos on that, of course a whole bunch of videos and tutorials on each map, and of course, finally, I said of course about 5 times, a bunch of fun ass live streams. Definitely make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss any of that, and I will see you guys later. My voice is dead.